Hi guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to explore the topic of medical affairs a little bit more and kind of expand on what we talked last time about the structure, right? Global, regional, local, and kind of being a glue for many other functions within the pharmaceutical company. So how is it really structured? Who works there? We mentioned last time that it's really medical doctors, pharmacists, PhDs, masters, but also everyone really with a medical profession, and also can be other people with marketing degree, of course, that also can end up in the medical field. So sorry about all the noise. My dog is walking around me. So just kind of who can be on the top of medical affairs. So there's a CMO, usually Chief Medical Officer, who reports to the head of R&D, head of or president of research and development, who usually would report to the CEO of the company. So the CMO, Chief Medical Officer, is really kind of the most senior medic in the company, or it could be also the head of R&D, who is a medic, who's been a CMO. So really between them, they're responsible for, of course, safety of the patients and making sure that the right drugs are delivered to the right patient that the company will produce. So usually it has to be a doctor, a medical doctor. So usually it's not, that even the title says a Chief Medical Officer, it has to be a medical professional, a medical doctor, physician who really studied medicine. And that makes sense because when you are responsible and you're a more senior medic within the company, you're responsible for the patients and patient safety, you can't be a pharmacist, you can't be anyone else. You really need to be a medic because that's what the kind of the premise is of the whole situation there. Then it could be under the Chief Medical Officer, there could be like head of medical affairs who can report to the CMO. And because CMO does not usually only have medical affairs under him or her, CMO can have regulatory safety function also reporting to him or her, or it can all be under the research and development. The head of R&D can act as the CMO and the head of R&D, which you see actually very often. So the head of medical affairs is usually also always a physician, because again, the word says it, medical affairs, everything related to the patient and other physicians. So really as a pharmacist, I think that is true. That is your glass ceiling. You can really never be head of medical affairs if you are not a physician. So as a pharmacist and you want to grow within medical affairs, really your last role can be reporting to the CMO or reporting to the head of medical affairs, unfortunately. But that's okay. It's a great role. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of value that you bring. It's a lot of money that people usually earn. It's great titles from directors, senior directors to VPs. So really, before you get there, you're fine. You can just probably 10, 20 years to get there. So I wouldn't worry in the beginning. So, and then head of medical affairs, so the CMO, he or she will have a team that will report to that person. And the team will be comprising of other heads of medical affairs for a region or for so like head of medical affairs, say region Asia or emerging markets or US. It could be also heads of therapeutic areas. If it's a large therapeutic area for the company, say like it's an oncology company and there are some other things that's happening, that other therapeutic areas that also present, but really the main focus is oncology. So the medical head of the oncology therapeutic area will also report to the head of medical affairs or the CMO. And then usually you will also have really kind of the head of operations, because I mean, it's great, and we can have, of course, medics that heads of the regions, they need to focus on medically related matters. But there's always someone who needs to have a team that will execute the strategy, that will execute the vision. And I always say the strategy lays in the execution, how good you are as an operational executor. And it doesn't mean that you are not strategic, but it is almost, I would say, one of the most important roles within medical affairs, kind of heading that operation or governance and operations, because you can strategize, you can have a great vision, you can think of a lot of things, but if no one is there to do the real work, it will never happen. It will never get to the patient. It will never get to where it needs to get. So, and that's where we as pharmacists can come in, being basically really aiming for that role, being the head of operations or strategic operations. And that head for the whole global group will have a lot of different functions in that group. And those functions, again, mostly run by pharmacists, or could be medical doctors, or PhDs. So in our next conversation, I will go into kind of breaking down each function that is reporting to the head of kind of governance and strategic operations within the medical affairs. And that's basically where you as pharmacists or other medical professionals can really contribute and find your niche. And I would always advise, do every bit of the medical affairs and learn a lot so you truly become a medical affairs professional before you move on to something else. Thanks for listening. Great seeing you here. Please leave your comments. Write to me what you want to hear next, or any clarifications you might want or need. Please do. I'm doing this for you, and I can't wait to see and hear more comments. Thank you.